Over and over again in today's gospel passage, Jesus uses the word to know. I know mine, and they know me. I know the Father, and the Father knows me. This concept of knowing. And as Jesus uses that, obviously, he is not using it in the sense that I know that 3 plus 3 equals 6. Or I know a fact or two about my sheep. I know about my Father in heaven. No, today he's speaking on the relational level. I know my sheep. I know my Father. And later on in the Gospel, he defines what that knowledge is. The Father loves me because of all that I do, because of the sacrifice that I make for the sheep. And Jesus very clearly sets up the distinction between himself as the good shepherd and the shepherd who works for pay. And he says, without saying so many words, that the fundamental difference is love or lack thereof. The word to know also means to love. That when we know someone intimately, we love them. When we love someone intimately, we know them. That knowledge and love go hand in hand. The more we love, the more we want to know. The more we know is a sign of how much we love. And so as Jesus speaks of being the Good Shepherd today, he speaks entirely about love. And this love that is sacrificial in nature. And this love that is total and free. No one takes this from me. No one makes me do this. I do it for myself. I am completely free in my gift of self to my flock. And as we see Jesus then lay down his life for his disciples, we ask ourselves, why does he do that? Why does he freely lay down his life for his disciples? Because he loves them. And when we ask ourselves about this love that God has for us, it is a love that truly, truly, truly desires the good of the other. That love at its core looks for the good of the other. And that's why Jesus, as the Good Shepherd, he is the Good Shepherd. Because his love is aimed at the other. Whereas the hired shepherd, well, his love is ultimately for himself. What am I getting out of this? These sheep are only good to line my pockets. And if danger comes along, well, because I'm only concerned about myself, I'm going to run and flee and get to safety, and the sheep can fend for themselves. This image of love that Jesus presents for us today, being completely free, being completely total, he gives his whole self to us, completely faithful. This reveals to us the very nature of love. Recently, in my own class with my seniors, we're talking about John Paul II's theology of the body. And the theology of the body perhaps is something we've heard about, but may not have any idea what that is. And in a nutshell, the theology of the body, as John Paul laid it out, was a series of reflections about how human love, how we love, especially conjugal love, the love of our bodies, how that communicates the plan of God. And that if love is going to be authentic, if love is going to be real, whether it's in our marriage relationships, or with our significant other, or with our friends, or with our families, whoever that love is, that if that love is going to be real, if that love is going to be authentic, then that love has to be free. It has to be something that we choose. That love has to be total. It cannot be, well, let me hold this back for myself. Let me do this for me. But rather, I want the good of you, totally. That love has to be faithful. infidelity. That if we cannot trust one another, we cannot love one another. That at the very heart of love is trust. Because in order to love, what do we have to do? We have to make ourselves vulnerable. We have to open ourselves up. We have to reveal that deepest part of ourselves that maybe even we are afraid to look at times. And in opening that up to the other person, there has to be complete safety. I have to trust that you are not going to run away from me. I have to trust that you are not going to judge me. I have to trust that you are not going to take advantage of me. And so faithfulness and fidelity is absolutely intricate to God's love. And fruitfulness. Love must be fruitful. Love must be so free, so total, so faithful, that it is also fruitful. That we are willing to let our love expand beyond ourselves. That in a sense, we're willing to let go of some control there. That we're willing to say, Lord, I will plant the seed, and whatever grows out of this, I will accept. That when God loves, life blossoms everywhere. And that when you and I love, whether as friends, or as husband and wife, or as celibates, or as whomever, when we love, that love is fruitful. It builds up. It nourishes and binds people together. That true love has this mark. And that today we are filled with what Jesus describes as counterfeit shepherds. We are filled with counterfeit messages of what love is, of what sexuality is, of who we are. We are told all sorts of things. That is not the case. Because they are lacking these very things that are God Himself. Totality, fidelity, fruitfulness, trustworthiness. All of these things that make love what it is. We are told that if one or more are lacking, it's okay. Because love is about doing what feels right. That's what we're told. And that is counterfeit. Nowhere does Jesus say, and as the Good Shepherd, I feel good about what I am doing. But rather He says just the opposite. I sacrifice. I sacrifice because I love. I lay down my life because I love. I give up my desires because I love. Because I want the good of the other. I'm not chasing myself. I'm here for the sheep. And so today, we have a beautiful image of love placed before us. And we see that in our own bodies, in our own souls, we are created in the image and likeness of God, capable of the very same thing. And indeed, more than capable, called to it. We are called to the same love that Jesus gives to us. And so yes, He appears and reveals Himself to us today as our shepherd, but also as our lover. I know my sheep. I love my sheep. And they know and they love me in return. And He desires that that love be authentic. And so as we come to this table one more time, we ask God to purify our own hearts, to erase whatever is counterfeit, to fill in the gaps of what is lacking, to give us true knowledge, to give us true love, so that we can know and love God as He knows and loves us.